We learned that as you uncover clues, you not only advance the search agenda, but you learn about history worldwide.
Nobody expected what happened next. After years of searching for answers beneath Oak Island, the team reportedly made a discovery so surprising that it brought operations to an immediate stop and left even the most seasoned investigators in disbelief. What started as a routine excavation soon became one of the most remarkable moments in the history of the Oak Island treasure hunt. According to witnesses, the atmosphere changed instantly when a mysterious find emerged from deep underground. Excitement quickly gave way to tension as speculation spread throughout the site and concern replaced anticipation. Then came the moment that stunned everyone. Rick Lagina, who has dedicated years to uncovering Oak Island's secrets, reportedly stepped away from the excavation after the discovery was made. His reaction alone sparked a troubling question among observers. What could possibly have been found that would trigger such a dramatic response? Was it the breakthrough the team had been hoping for all these years? A long hidden secret buried beneath the island for centuries? Or something far more unsettling than anyone expected? The information now being discussed is raising serious questions, and if the reports are accurate, this discovery could completely change our understanding of Oak Island. Here's what reportedly happened. In the early hours of the morning, the atmosphere inside Oak Island's war room shifted dramatically when flashing alerts suddenly appeared across multiple monitors. Outside, heavy drilling equipment continued operating near the money pit as the team monitored incoming data. At first, crew members assumed the unusual readings were the result of a technical malfunction. They had never encountered signals this strong before. However, after Emma Culligan carefully reviewed and verified the information, the room fell silent. The scans had revealed a strange anomaly nearly 180 feet below the surface. Even more intriguing, the metallic density in that area appeared to be approximately 68% greater than the surrounding soil. This was clearly not an ordinary underground cavity. Repeated imaging produced the same results every time. The data showed straight boundaries, interconnected tunnel-like pathways, and an extremely dense metallic zone positioned at the center of the formation. Most importantly, the exact same pattern appeared in 3 separate scans, effectively ruling out the possibility of equipment error. Emma remained focused as she compared the new findings with historical drilling maps, seismic records, and recent borehole data. With each verification, the hidden structure became clearer and more defined. The crew's initial confusion soon turned into cautious anticipation. After years of pursuing false leads and unexplained anomalies on Oak Island, they had never encountered a signal this compelling. The only sound in the room was the steady hum of machinery as engineers debated possible explanations. Some suggested the formation could be part of a deliberately constructed chamber, while others warned that further drilling might trigger a collapse if the structure proved unstable. Then Emma quietly made an observation that changed everything. "This doesn't look natural." Those 4 words instantly transformed the mood in the room. For the first time, team members began to believe that whatever lay hidden beneath Oak Island might genuinely have the potential to rewrite history. Emma's verified findings left everyone stunned. Throughout the night, the war room remained illuminated by computer screens as she continued examining the data. The results were checked again and again because they seemed almost too extraordinary to be true. Yet every new layer of analysis revealed the same thing. At depths between 180 and 190 feet, the scans consistently showed a formation unlike anything the team had previously encountered. It did not resemble a simple tunnel, a natural fracture, or a random underground void. Instead, the evidence pointed toward a sealed chamber nearly 20 feet wide concealed beneath the island. An even more intriguing clue emerged when measurements revealed that the surrounding soil resistance was nearly 40% lower than normal. This suggested that the area could be hollow, or possibly the result of intentional engineering. As the evidence continued to build, one question remained at the center of everyone's mind. What exactly was hidden inside the mysterious chamber beneath Oak Island, and what secrets had remained buried there for centuries? Emma carefully compared decades of drilling records with seismic imaging data and the latest borehole scans. Remarkably, every source pointed to the same conclusion. The formation displayed sharp edges, curved connecting passageways, and a dense metallic concentration at its center. Some experts speculated that it could be part of an ancient underground tunnel system, while others argued that a structure with such precise geometry was highly unlikely to have formed naturally at that depth. As the findings became clearer, crew members gathered around the monitors, uncertain whether to feel excited or concerned. If Emma's analysis was accurate, the centuries-old mystery of Oak Island might finally be approaching a breakthrough. Then, while examining the final composite image on the screen, Emma made an observation that immediately changed the atmosphere in the room. This structure appears to have been intentionally built. The moment those words were spoken, silence filled the war room. Suddenly, everyone began to realize that whatever lay beneath Oak Island could be far more important than a hidden treasure. The possibility of discovering something deliberately constructed deep underground raised even bigger questions. Yet later that night, it wasn't the scan data that unsettled the team the most. It was an 11-second segment of borehole camera footage that left everyone staring at the screens in disbelief. At around 3 a.m., a specially modified camera was carefully lowered into a borehole beneath the money pit. As it descended through the darkness, the monitors displayed little more than muddy walls and flowing water. Then something unexpected appeared. After passing the 170-foot depth mark, the camera captured what looked like a remarkably straight stone surface. Unlike the rough and irregular rock formations typically found beneath Oak Island, this section appeared unusually smooth and uniform. As the camera continued its descent, additional details emerged. Shapes resembling old wooden support beams came into view. Although many of the timbers appeared worn and damaged by time, their positioning suggested they had been deliberately placed, possibly to reinforce a tunnel or underground passage. The room fell completely silent as everyone watched the live feed. Then, without warning, 3 distinct metallic flashes appeared on the screen. For a brief moment, it seemed as though light had reflected off a hidden metal object buried below. The crew immediately replayed the footage, and each review showed the same flashes in exactly the same locations. Emma enlarged the images and carefully examined every frame. Some engineers believed the reflections could indicate the presence of a metallic object concealed within the structure. Others suggested they might be coming from the wall of a hidden chamber. What concerned the experts most, however, was the shape of the passage itself. Rather than resembling a naturally formed cave, the tunnel appeared structured and engineered. Its contours seemed too organized to be the result of natural geological processes. One crew member quietly broke the silence. If someone built this, it has remained hidden for centuries. No one replied. For several moments, the room remained silent as the significance of the discovery began to sink in. For the first time, it felt as though the Oak Island mystery might involve something far greater than lost treasure. It could be connected to a deliberately concealed underground network that had remained untouched and undiscovered for generations. Following the camera footage, excitement across the site quickly turned into concern. The team initially believed they were closer than ever to reaching the hidden chamber. However, only a few hours later, engineers issued a warning that dramatically changed the course of the operation and forced everyone to reconsider their next move. New stability reports soon revealed a serious problem. Engineers discovered that a highly unstable underground zone, measuring nearly 12 feet wide, had formed beneath the money pit. Data showed that soil resistance was steadily weakening, while underground pressure levels continued rising far beyond normal limits. Experts feared that even a small drilling error could trigger a major collapse within the shaft. As concerns grew, emergency meetings were quickly organized inside the war room. Large monitors displayed constantly updating pressure maps while specialists analyzed the latest readings. At the same time, sensors monitoring Oak Island's infamous flood tunnels began detecting unusual water movement deep below the surface. The flood tunnels had frustrated treasure hunters for generations, and now there were signs that the same threat might be returning once again. Across the island, powerful industrial pumps worked continuously to control the rising water levels. Thousands of gallons of water were being removed every hour as the team raced against both time and the increasingly unstable conditions underground. Despite these efforts, moisture levels beneath the site continued to increase. Several engineers became concerned that the constant vibrations from drilling operations were weakening whatever structure existed below the money pit. Their greatest fear was both simple and alarming. If the suspected chamber was indeed a carefully engineered construction, a collapse would do far more than damage the excavation site. It could permanently destroy valuable evidence that had remained hidden underground for centuries. As a result, the multi-million-dollar operation suddenly entered its most critical and dangerous phase. Internal reports suggested that daily losses had already reached hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yet the financial cost was no longer the team's primary concern. During one particularly tense discussion, a senior engineer delivered a direct warning to Rick Lagina. "We may be standing above one of the greatest discoveries ever made, but entering that area right now would be extremely dangerous." Those words immediately changed the mood across the entire site. The team realized that whatever mystery lay beneath Oak Island might be just as dangerous as it was important. For more than a decade, Rick Lagina had faced challenges that would have convinced most people to walk away. Flood tunnel setbacks, collapsed excavations, damaged equipment, misleading clues, and millions of dollars spent without definitive answers had never weakened his determination. Through every disappointment, he remained convinced that they were getting closer to the truth. But this night felt different. Inside the war room, the borehole footage played repeatedly as Emma Culligan reviewed the latest scan overlays and engineers debated the growing stability risks. Throughout the discussions, however, Rick remained unusually quiet. Several crew members noticed him staring at the screens for long periods, seemingly trying to absorb the full significance of what the data was revealing. Eventually, he left the war room and walked alone toward the excavation site. Outside, powerful floodlights illuminated the muddy terrain, while cold winds swept across the island. Far below the surface, near the location of the anomaly, drilling operations had come to a complete stop. Rick stood silently, looking toward the exact area where the mysterious structure had been detected. Veteran crew members later admitted they had never seen him react this way before. The man who had invested enormous resources, years of effort, and unwavering belief into the search appeared genuinely troubled by what the evidence might mean. After standing there for several minutes, he finally broke the silence. "If what these scans are showing is really down there, maybe we're not ready to uncover it." The statement had an immediate impact on everyone who heard it. Some workers paused what they were doing. Others exchanged uneasy glances. Back inside the war room, silence settled over the team. For the first time, it no longer seemed as though Rick's greatest concern was failing to find treasure. Instead, it appeared he was beginning to wonder whether the truth hidden beneath Oak Island might carry consequences no one had anticipated. After Rick's unexpected reaction, a new theory quickly began gaining attention among the team. The conversation was no longer focused solely on the possibility of buried treasure. Instead, researchers and specialists started asking a much larger question. Could an entire underground vault network exist beneath the money pit? Emmer and several experts began comparing the latest scan data with centuries of excavation records. As they examined the information, an intriguing pattern started to emerge. Historical tunnel discoveries, known flood tunnel locations, and recently detected underground anomalies appeared to line up in ways that were difficult to ignore. Rather than pointing to a single hidden chamber, the deep scan suggested the existence of multiple chambers connected by a network of underground passageways. Some of the anomaly paths extended toward the eastern side of the island, while others appeared to lead directly toward areas where mysterious collapses had been reported decades earlier. What concerned the experts most was that the anomaly field seemed to grow larger with each new analysis. If the data was accurate, the underground structure could be far more extensive than anyone had originally imagined. The rotating 3D models displayed inside the war room continued revealing what appeared to be straight corridor-like formations and circular underground cavities. Many engineers argued that these features did not resemble naturally occurring geological formations. Some even began referring to the discovery as a centuries-old engineered vault system. Adding another layer to the mystery, historians reviewed records from early 19th century treasure hunters who claimed to have encountered stone passageways and wooden platforms beneath Oak Island. For years, those accounts had largely been dismissed as legend and speculation. Yet now, modern scanning technology seemed to be revealing patterns that closely matched those historical reports. As the evidence accumulated, the excitement that had energized the crew gradually began to give way to unease. If a connected underground network truly existed, Oak Island's mystery might represent something far greater than hidden treasure alone. It could point to a deliberately constructed system designed to remain concealed for centuries. As speculation continued to grow, another serious challenge emerged. In the early hours of the morning, emergency pressure alarms suddenly activated throughout the excavation control center. Sensors recorded water pressure inside the drilling shaft at levels nearly 35% higher than normal. At first, engineers assumed the readings were simply the result of routine groundwater fluctuations. However, the situation quickly became more concerning. Data indicated that between 8,000 and 10,000 gallons of water per hour were entering the excavation zone through underground channels. Industrial pumping systems, already operating continuously, were pushed to their limits as crews worked to remove massive amounts of water each day. Despite these efforts, the water level continued to rise. At the same time, the soil surrounding the money pit began showing increasing signs of instability. Monitoring equipment identified a collapse risk area nearly 12 feet wide, while some sections recorded soil resistance losses approaching 40%. Engineers feared that continued drilling under such conditions could trigger a sudden structural failure. Inside the war room, red warning indicators flashed continuously as Emma analyzed updated underground flow maps and pressure readings. One discovery stood out above all the others. The highest water pressure measurements were concentrated around the same anomaly zone where the hidden chamber was believed to exist. This raised a troubling possibility. The flood tunnels that had challenged generations of treasure hunters might be directly connected to the mysterious underground structure itself. If true, the team was no longer facing just one challenge. They could be dealing with an entire interconnected system designed to protect or conceal whatever remained hidden beneath Oak Island. As conditions continued to worsen, a senior engineer issued a serious warning to Rick. If underground pressure levels increased by another 15%, emergency evacuation procedures would need to be activated immediately. The warning quickly spread throughout the site, creating a sense of urgency among the crew. At that point, the operation no longer felt like a traditional treasure hunt. Once again, Oak Island seemed determined to resist anyone who came too close to uncovering its secrets. Following the flood tunnel crisis, several crew members began sharing experiences that added even more uncertainty to the situation. What had started as a difficult excavation was beginning to feel increasingly unusual. Multiple workers reported hearing strange metallic sounds coming from deep underground during overnight shifts, even after all drilling activity had stopped. According to several accounts, repetitive knocking noises could be heard during the early morning hours. The sounds resembled metal striking against a hard surface somewhere beneath the island. At first, these reports were dismissed as residual vibrations from heavy equipment. However, some workers insisted the noises continued long after the machinery had been shut down. One crew member, speaking anonymously, claimed to have noticed unusual markings while reviewing borehole camera footage. According to his observations, the patterns appeared geometric and deliberate rather than natural cracks or fractures in the surrounding rock. As more footage was examined, other team members reported seeing similar features. What surprised investigators most was the consistency of the accounts. Independent reports repeatedly described the same types of observations: metallic flashes, unexplained echoing sounds, and tunnel formations that appeared structured rather than naturally formed. As a result, tension inside the war room began rising for reasons that extended beyond engineering concerns. The growing psychological pressure was becoming a factor as well. One crew member quietly commented it felt like some kind of system was still operating down there. No one answered. For several moments, silence filled the room. The team's concerns had evolved beyond the risks of flooding, structural instability, or collapse. Increasingly, people found themselves wondering whether the hidden structure beneath Oak Island was not only ancient, but intentionally concealed and left untouched for generations. What happened later that night would leave a lasting impression on everyone involved. Over more than a decade of searching, Rick and Marty Lagina had faced countless setbacks, cave-ins, flood tunnel failures, equipment problems, and disappointments without ever seriously considering ending the search. Yet this situation felt different. That was why many crew members were surprised when Marty stepped away from the excavation area. By the early hours of the morning, drilling operations had been suspended. Warning alerts continued flashing across control room monitors, and uncertainty hung over the entire site. After years of relentless determination, Marty appeared more concerned than anyone had seen him before. The following day brought another unexpected development. New scan data revealed additional anomalies located even deeper beneath the original chamber. The findings suggested that the underground structure could be significantly larger and more complex than previously believed. What had begun as a search for buried treasure was rapidly evolving into something far greater and far more mysterious. As darkness settled over Oak Island and the machinery finally fell silent, one question remained unanswered. What exactly did the team discover that caused such a dramatic shift in attitude? If something extraordinary truly exists beneath the island, then the most significant revelation in Oak Island history may still be waiting to be uncovered. And if the latest evidence is any indication, the mystery is far from over.